What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So we got a bunch of game pick stuff with football to get to today. We're going to start with baseball, and it'll be standings update. We are right around the corner from the postseason. We have about 2 or so weeks left, 2.5 weeks left. Starting the American League East, Toronto Blue Jays 84 and 62. They have a 3-game lead for the American League East over the Yankees, 3.5 games ahead of the Boston Red Sox. Huge series between the Yankees and the Red Sox that starts today. Big series between those two teams as they are both trying to get home field advantage in the wild card round. Both still chasing Toronto in the American League East. Yankees were 81 and 65. Red Sox at 81 and 66. In Tampa, they gotten hot and gotten just back into the race, but have kind of fallen back to earth. A fallen kind of out of the wild card race, looking like a long shot. They'll be able to get in. Detroit Tigers 8.5 game lead in the American League Central should be clinching pretty soon. Cleveland, Kansas City still alive in the wild card race to an extent, but division is pretty much out of reach. American League West, Houston and Seattle are now tied. Seattle's gotten hot. They have won 6 straight games. They were struggling for a while, but they've won 6 games in a row. They are on 79-68, same record as Houston. And Texas has also gotten high. They've been very hot and cold this year, Texas, as I mentioned before on this show. And they're only 2 games out. So you have 3 teams within 2 games of each other in the American League West. Really tight race. But Houston and Seattle are tied right now for first. As they only have, my math is correct, I think 15 games left. And then Texas Rangers are also only 2 games out. National League East, the Phillies sweep the Mets in a 4-game set. And the New York Mets have all of a sudden lost 6 in a row and 7 of their last 8. This crazy inconsistent year continues. They dropped to 76 and 71. They're only 5 games over 500. They're the 4th worst team since June 13th. They actually have, I think the Rockies, no, they have the Rockies. I think there's one really bad team. I think it's the White Sox that has a better record than them over the last 4 months. And this is getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. How they have this bad of starting pitching, I don't understand. They have to have 7 of the right different guys throughout the year that you looked at like, all right, they know what they're doing. They've pitched in this league for a while. They were relatively good last year. They'll be fine. And somehow, some way, they just find a way to screw it up. David Pearson was really good last year, was an all-star first half of the year. It's been terrible in the second half. Clay Holmes was actually very good in the first half. He has struggled in the second half. Kawhi Sang has been so bad since he came off the IL that they sent him to the minor leagues. Sean Manaea has an ERA almost 6. He's been absolutely terrible. See, Montas was a joke. And they have 3 rookies right now in the rotation. Noah McClain has only made 5 or 6 starts, but he's been by far the best starting pitcher. He's only made 5 starts. Joe Montana has only made 2 starts, so you could argue he's their second or third best pitcher. Brandon Sprout's only made 1 start, and he's almost a lock for the playoff rotation. Like, it's getting ridiculous. Like, you had a chance to put the Reds away. You didn't do it. A failure teammate you've played well against this year. You swept them at home 2 weeks ago. I get you're in Philly. This is a team that their ace, Zach Wheeler, who was dominated ever since he left your team, is shut down for the season. Trey Turner and Alec Boehm, 2 of their best players, were placed on the IL prior to the series starting. And you got absolutely dominated. Game 1, you didn't score a single run. You get shut out. You got blown out in 2 straight games, and you blow a 4-0 lead last night. It's absolutely ridiculous how bad they are playing. And how this offense has started as it is. They go through stretches where they look elite, stretches where they look horrible. How many power outages has this team went through offensively? It's honestly amazing. I think that Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Mark Vientos is hot. I don't get it. And, some of it falls on Carlos Mendoza. He's pulled some stars a little bit earlier this year than throughout the year. But he did a great job last year. I still believe he's a good manager. I don't think a lot of stars are on him. David Stearns, he has not done a good enough job. A guy who's known to, he's a specialized building pitching staff and supposedly it works. He has not done a very good job. Letting Jose Quintana walk and bringing Frankie Montas, jumping on Montas for $17.5 million in the offseason, letting Quintana walk for nothing. Quintana's had a sub-4 ERA with the Brewers. A team that you beat in the playoffs last year, and Montas was atrocious, was hurt, was atrocious, and now he's probably going to never pitch for the Mets again. He's about to have Tommy John the offseason. It's just a joke. It's horrible. I mean, Clay Holmes overall has been pretty decent. He's overall been pretty solid. I mean, the guy's has been a starter like 5 or 6 years. He was never going to be a guy who gives you 200 innings right off the bat. He overall has pitched pretty well. Pearson, who obviously was a top prospect, who didn't work out, was struggling for years. Last year has a breakout year, continued the first half, but he's gone back to the guy he was a few years ago in the second half of the season. Like, it's ridiculous. And, like, all right, maybe these 3 kids weren't ready until August. That's why they didn't come up till now. And they overall have all pitched really well. McLean's looked untouchable. Sprout in his first start pitched great. The Mets just didn't score any goddamn runs. Tong overall has flashed brilliance in his starts. Again, he's only made 2 starts. He's only 22 years old. If he controls his walks and keeps the ball in the ballpark, he has a chance to be a real stud in this league for a long time. But he can't be counted on with the 22 and 23-year-old guys who only have 20 innings or so under their belts to lead your rotation going into the playoffs. And their bullpen, because this guy freaking Helsley, he's been atrocious. He's been one of the worst trade deadline moves in MLB history. It's a 10.5 ERA. Came to the Mets. It's a guy who was one of the best hitters in baseball the last 3 or 4 years. He had an ERA of 3 with the Cardinals this year. And he has an ERA of almost 11 since he came to the Mets. It's ridiculous. Like, Tyler Rogers has pitched well, but the guy they gave up in that trade, Drew Gilbert, might be helping the Giants to the playoffs as he came up. I would have preferred him instead of it over Cedric Mullins, who's been horrible. He's hitting like 170 since he came to the Mets. He had an over 28 or over 26 stretch recently. He has not been that good defensively. Tyrone Taylor was hurt, but was playing a lot of center field for them throughout the year. Was not much better. I know, but they have Jose Siri just came back after finally after breaking his leg in April. He's looked, he's been not that much better. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, how you saw Harrison Bader, guy who played well for the Mets, was a Gold Glove caliber center fielder, had some big hits for them. Guys loved him. Guy went to college with Pete Alonso, was a great clubhouse guy, made a positive impact throughout the year. They just let him go. He wanted to come back to the Mets, and they had a chance to trade for him. Wouldn't have to give up a lot, and they didn't. Instead, they gave up probably even more to go get Cedric Mullins, who's been horrible. Bader's is hitting like 600 against them this year since he joined the Phillies at the trade deadline. What are we doing? And again, like, he could have made the trade for Garrett Crochet, and he didn't pull the trigger. He could have, I would have much rather than, re-sign Quintana for another year, even though he's old. He's had a decent year for the Brewers. Guy who pitched well for you last year, had some big starts in the playoffs for you. We haven't gotten for Frankie Montas, who hadn't had an ERA under like 4.8 and been healthy for a full season in like 4 or 5 years. And what do you know? The guy misses half the year, comes back as a 6.2 ERA, and then gets hurt again. Just an absolute disaster. Like, you can't help AJ Minter got hurt. The guy who had a really good career. He was pitching well, and then he gets hurt. Can't help that. But again, he could have done more for the bullpen. Just, outside of that, just re-signing Reed Garrett, who had an okay year last year. He's been really horrible for a few months now. He was recently hurt. He got rocked last night. It's just getting ridiculous. And like, why, I got like Rico Garcia, kid you bring in, pitches well, and then you DFA him. Meanwhile, Ryan Stanek has just been dreadful for you. You still run him out there all the time. I just don't understand. Their pitching staff is beyond horrible. They're playing horrible. If they don't get their head out of their ass, they're going to miss the playoffs. You cannot sign Juan Soto coming off an LCS berth and miss the freaking playoffs. Absolutely ridiculous and an absolute joke. And they better get their heads out of their ass. They will miss the playoffs. We're going to have to hear from the Yankees fans, and you're going to hear from me because I'm going to be pissed. Okay? Let's go. Okay? Pick it up. But to finish off this segment, the rest of the National League is out of it. Miami's falling off, obviously, after a little mini hot stretch right after the break. And National League Central, Brewers with the Cubs by 5.5 games. They're not playing great right now. They just got swept, but so Cubs hanging in there. In the division, not over yet. Brewers doing the best record in all of baseball at 89 and 58. The Cubs still in the division to an extent. Will obviously be going to the playoffs. They should be crunching at least a playoff spot very soon. Reds are right there in the wild card race. Cardinals are even not even out of it yet. National League West, Dodgers lead San Diego Padres by 2.5 games. Dodgers who Overall, the second have not played very well, have won 4 in a row. Their starting pitcher's been pitching really well, and they took a couple of no hitters into the ninth inning. San Diego's 2.5 games behind them in the division. Giants still there in the wild card race. Even Arizona is not done yet. And the Colorado Rockies are 40 and 107. My Lord. 40 and 107. And they only got to win 2 games in the last 15 to not have the worst record ever, or not the worst record ever, but so this is a team that's going to lose, has a chance to lose 120 games. They are just absolutely horrid. Now, for the wild card race in the American League, Yankees right now the first spot. Boston's the second spot. Like I said, they have a series starting today. Again, Yankees are a half game ahead of Boston right now. Seattle and Houston are tied for the last spot. They're both tied in their division. They're both 2 games behind Boston, 2.5 games behind the Yankees. Texas is 2 games out of both the wild card and the division. Cleveland 3.5 games out of a spot. Kansas City is 5 games out of a spot. Tampa's full 6.5 out of a spot. National League, Cubs are the first wild card. Padres are the second wild card. They're 3.5 games behind the Cubs. Mets still clinging to the last spot, but they've fallen 4 games behind the Padres. All of a sudden, the Reds and the Giants, who have gotten hot all of a sudden, are both just a game and a half out of a wild card spot. Arizona is 3 games out, and St. Louis is also 4 games out. So those are your MLB standings as we have that 2.5 weeks left in the season. College football game picks. Usually I do my game picks on Wednesday, but didn't do a show the last few days, so I did Thursday night football game on, what was it, Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it was, and then it's like I said, I'm doing the rest of them today. For college football, we have a game tonight. It is Indiana, who's ranked 22nd against Indiana State. Indiana should win by a lot. Line's 46.5. Not sure it'll be that bad, but Indiana's a much better team. The only rivals are playing the same state, obviously. Indiana should win no problem. And the games tomorrow, we got number 4 Oregon against Northwestern. Going to take Oregon. Dante Moore's played well so far this season. They're simply a better football team than Northwestern. So I'll take Oregon. Number 12, Clemson against Georgia Tech. I'm going to take Clemson. I thought about taking Georgia Tech. I do think they are a good football team this year. They look good so far. Clemson does not look great. You lose to LSU. They're talking all that smack. You had some trouble with Troy, who is not very good. But I'm going to take Clemson. They're struggling out of the gate. Reason the line's only 2.5. I'm going to take the Clemson Tigers to win. If they lose this game, that might be it for them. Not going to lie. Because at that point, and now the ACC, I guess, yeah, if they win the ACC, then obviously you get guaranteed a spot. But they're going to have a hard time doing that. I know that conference isn't good, but Georgia Tech is looking good so far. And number 13, Oklahoma against Temple. I'm going to go with the Sooners. They look pretty good so far this year. Temple's just, again, Oklahoma's just a better football team. Give me Oklahoma. Wisconsin is number 19, Alabama. Give me Alabama. Obviously, that first game against Florida State was really telling. But they're trying to get back on the horse. I said they beat Wisconsin. Line's 20.5. Not sure it'll be that bad, but Alabama wins by a couple scores for sure. Central Michigan against number 23, Michigan. I'm going to take Michigan. But I'm not super in on Michigan being elite this year. Obviously, you were really bad last year coming off the national championship. Bryce Underwood is a true freshman. He's been a mixed bag in his first couple of games. So I think they'll be closer to probably like 8-4 than 10-2, 11-1, but they're still a good team. They're better than Central Michigan. Michigan wins this game, probably by a lot. South Alabama against number 24, Auburn. Give me Auburn. Louisiana against number 25, Missouri. Give me Missouri. Missouri is just going to overpower them. Villanova. It's number 2, Penn State. There's not even a line out for that one. Penn State's going to win by a lot. I do like Drew Aller. I do believe he can be good. We'll see what happens, but I'll take Penn State. Villanova is obviously a basketball school. Certainly a football school. What could be the game of the week, what probably is on paper, number 6, Georgia against number 15, Tennessee. Big game. I'm going to take Georgia. Obviously, both teams have been elite for a few years now, especially Georgia. You were 2-time defending national champions and not too long ago. They were in the college football playoff last year. Would have probably been at least in the semifinals, not in the natty if Carson Beck didn't get hurt. 2-0 so far with Tennessee. This kid Aguilar has come in and played really well, obviously replacing Nico Imaleva, whatever his name is. I'm going to take Georgia though. I think they're a slightly better team. They're a little more better well coached, but I do like to Josh Heupel in Tennessee. Give me Georgia. Oregon State against number 21 Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech. Oregon State's not very good this year. Tech wins that game, probably without much trouble. Number 14 Iowa State against Arkansas State. Give me Iowa State. UTEP against number 7 Texas. That game is going to get ugly pretty fast. Another get-right game for Arch Manning and the Longhorns. This is also a really good game. At 4:30, it's almost CW. On the last game, it's almost CW. But it's number 18 South Florida against number 5 Miami. I'm going to take Miami. USF looks really good this year. Two minor-ish upsets. You beat Boise State in week 1. You won again last week. All of a sudden, you're top 20 in the country. You look very good. But Miami, I think, is still a very good team. They've looked good so far. I did think they were going to fall off a little bit so far. I haven't seen much fall off. Last year, you almost made the college football playoff. Obviously, Cam Moore goes to the league as your top receiver, Xavier Restrepo. Now Carson Beck is a transfer from Georgia, obviously. We're not high on, but you look good so far. I'm going to take Miami to win that game. 17.5, not sure the game will be that lopsided, but I think Miami wins the game. Ohio against number 1 Ohio State by a lot. Western Michigan against number 9 Illinois. Illinois should win no problem. They look very good so far this season. Arkansas against number 17 Ole Miss. You know what? I'm going to take Arkansas in an upset. I like to pick one upset every single week. Usually we have one or two that happen every single week. Ole Miss, their quarterback has the kid Simmons. He's got more picks and touchdowns this far this season. They got a really good running game. Arkansas looks pretty good. I'll take Arkansas in an upset. Florida against number 3 LSU. Give me LSU. Florida every year, like, oh, they're going to turn the corner, and they never do. Bill Napier, I think, is a terrible coach. I think he's done a terrible job there. You lose last week on that field goal, the missed field goal. LSU looks elite this year. Nussmeyer's look pretty good. I will take the LSU Tigers in this one. Number 16, Texas A&M, number 8, Notre Dame. So we got a very good slate of games this week. Definitely better than last week. I'm going to take the Notre Dame. Every year they have like that one game that they lose that they shouldn't. They do it every year. They already had that. A&M's a good team. The offense looks elite, but I will take the Fighting Irish in that one. Vanderbilt against number 11, South Carolina. I will take the Gamecocks. Vanderbilt last year was a little better than they usually are. Obviously, crazy upset over Alabama. And they are playing well so far this year, but I will take the Gamecocks in that one. Number 20, Utah against Wyoming. Give me Utah in that game. NFL game picks. First off, let's talk about the game last night. Packers over the Washington Commanders, 27-18. Jordan Love, 19 of 31 for 292 and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs ran for 84 yards on the score. Tucker Kraft, 6 catches, 124 yards and a touchdown. Big game for him. Packers win. Their pass rush was elite. They got pressure on Jalen Daniels, like half his dropbacks. They looked incredible. Telling you, Green Bay, I think their 2 biggest needs in the offseason were need one more legit vertical threat and one more legit pass rusher, and they took care of those. You already had a good quarterback in Jordan Love. You had a good running game. You had a couple of good complementary weapons in Jaden Reed, who though they get hurt about 6 to 8 weeks of broken collarbone. They'll be back at some point to see them. And Romeo Dubes and Tucker Kraft. You had the offensive line. You had a solid defense. You were a pretty well coached team. Your pass rush need a little more oomph and a little more big play threat in their offense. You draft Matthew Golden in the first round, and you get one of the league's, maybe the league's best pass rusher in Micah Parsons. Just they took care of their needs, and they look absolutely elite so far this season. They have 2-0, Commanders to 1-1. Now let's do the rest of the game picks. 1 o'clock take this Sunday. Jaguars and Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals. They always come out slow, so like throw out taking Jacksonville. And they almost lost the game to Cleveland. If Cleveland didn't miss that field goal late, probably would have won. But Lawrence didn't look great. You played Carolina, who sucks. The Bengals don't have a very good defense either. This could be a higher scoring game, but I won't take the Bengals. I do believe they're a good football team. I'll bite their defensive concerns. I'll take the Bengals in that one. Giants, Cowboys. I'm going to take Dallas. Giants look like a mess. Like, Dallas doesn't have much of a pass rush. So that maybe helps with the Giants' poor offensive line, but Russell Wilson looked really bad. And, it could be a lower scoring game. Dallas also ran them up pretty well last week. So I will take the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Giants could be in for a long year. Bears, Lions. I'm gonna take the Lions. The Bears, they're such a joke. Caleb Williams is a joke. Obviously, this is a big game. Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. It's gonna be rowdy. Division rivals. Lions fans are not, they've kind of soured on Ben Johnson, obviously, since he left. But I think it could be a nice bounce back game for Jared Goff. The Bears defense is not bad by any means. It's actually very good. But I'm going to take the Lions in that game to get on the board in the win column. Rams, Titans. I don't take the Rams, but Titans, they looked horrible. And week one, it's very easy to overreact. It's week one. So we all do it every year. So I try my best to not completely overreact. But the Titans, rookie quarterback who I'm not really sold on. Brian Callahan made a fool of himself. They had a lot of drops. The offensive line looked horrid. Rams are a good team. They got a good front seven. A lot of weapons. This game, the Rams should, I think, easily cover the 5.5 points. So I'll take the Rams for sure. Patriots, Dolphins. I'm gonna take the Patriots. I can't stand the Patriots, obviously, but they did not look great in that game against the Raiders. Miami plays a lot better at home than they do on the road, but they looked so bad last week. Fans are freaking out. To turn that around in 1 week, I think is going to be tough. I don't think either team is going to be very good this year. I really don't. I don't think New England making the playoffs. I don't really have them going over 500. I have Miami being even worse. They both look even worse than I thought they would in week one. But I will take New England. I think Miami is that bad. 49ers Saints. This is an interesting one. Niners will have a lot of injuries. Looks like Brock Purdy is going to miss the next few weeks. Have 2 to 5 weeks with turf toe. George Kittle, their start tight end, is going to miss a few weeks. So injuries already start to pile up for the 49ers. But I will take them to win this game. The Saints are absolutely horrible. This could probably be a brutal watch being Mac Jones against Spencer Rattler. People are saying it's going to be the worst game ever. Kind of as a joke, but this is going to be an ugly game. The Saints are absolutely horrendous. Mac Jones, he does have Christian McCaffrey. Ricky Pearsall's a talented player. Ja'Wuan Jennings is good. I think they have just enough to beat what's probably the least talented team in the league, the New Orleans Saints. Bills, Jets have taken the Bills. No hesitation. They just looked pretty good last week, but you still blew the game. They cut Xavier Gibson, which is good. It's at home. Jets have been pretty tough against the Bills at home in the last few years. But that defense looked rough in week one. The Alvins looked really good, and they asked the Bills to give up 40 points. They also played the Ravens. The Ravens offense is not the Ravens offense. Let's be honest. I don't even know if it'll be that close. But Bills win. I have no hope of New York Jets. Seahawks, Steelers. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers played really well. There was definitely a little bit of motivation. The Jets gave him everything, but whatever. I guess whatever different things motivate different people. So he was motivated. I'm not sure he'll come out and play as well. But Seattle, the running game looks wonky. They just look off. Not a ton of hope for them this year right now. So I think Pittsburgh starts out 2-0. Browns, Ravens. Flacco once again makes his return to Baltimore. I'm gonna take the Ravens. Flacco played well against Cleveland against Ravens every single time he plays them, but Cleveland, they got close last week. But Derrick Henry is coming. He got they asked Brad Delpa, is he hard to tackle? He said no. That's one of the worst choices I've ever seen. He's going to run right through the Ravens. Right through the Browns defensive line. I'm taking the Ravens 11.5. I'm not sure if the cover. I think they do, but the Ravens are going to win. I don't think it'll be entirely close. It could be a 10-point game, but probably it'll be a little more than that. 405 Broncos, Colts. So it's a tough one because I think this is, again, week one overreaction. I don't think Indianapolis is that good. I don't expect Daniel Jones to do that what he did the whole year. I don't expect Denver to be. They won, but it was ugly. The Titans played really bad in that game. I do think they're a better football team than what they showed. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm going to take the Colts. I know Denver's defense is elite, but Jones played very well last week. On paper, this is a good football team. And just the quarterback and leadership there is what concerns me. This is in Denver. I would have taken Denver. That's a big home field advantage for them. But Indianapolis, I'll take them to win. But Bo Nix did not look very good last week. And a lower scoring, I'll take the Colts. Panthers, Cardinals. I'm going to take Arizona. Bryce Young looked really bad last week. I've never been high on this kid. I'm going to take Arizona. Eagles, Chiefs, the Super Bowl rematch for us. Eagles beat the doors off of the Chiefs. What was it, 40-24 or 21? And was 40-7 at one point in the fourth quarter. I'm going to take the Eagles. The Chiefs did not look great in week one. Now Xavier Worthy looks like he's not going to play. Still no Rashee Rice because of the suspension. Kelsey obviously isn't the same player. I think Chiefs are a little off right now, so I actually just don't know if I want to. Eagles, again, they had some issues as well. Their secondary looked a little weak. The defense didn't look as good as I thought in week one against Dallas. But I think the Chiefs' offensive line is worse than Dallas's offensive line. I think they're a better team. I'll take Philadelphia. Sunday Night Football, Falcons and the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings. Obviously, started off really bad, then McCarthy comes from behind and wins. Just want the guy who's been a winner. I don't trust the Falcons at all. The Vikings overall have a good defense. I think Penix will struggle against that defense a little bit. I will take the Minnesota Vikings. And then Monday Night Football, we have a double header. First one is Bucs Texans. Should be a good game, but I'm taking the Bucs. They looked good in week one. That offense looked really good, even without Chris Godwin. Abuka with two touchdowns. They look good. Houston, the offensive line is still absolutely terrible. So in a close game, I am going to take the Bucs to get a win on the road. Chargers Raiders at 10 o'clock. I'm going to take the Chargers. They looked really good in week one. Herbert played his ass off. Defense looked really good. Raiders do pick up a win on the road against New England. However, I think New England is a great team. I know Brock Bowers next to I do think he is going to play. But I will take the Chargers. I think they are a very good team this year. That's all I got for you guys today. Have a good weekend. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.